Hello friends, we'll be discussing certain details about the meaning and definition of consignment accounts. So when we speak about consignment accounts, this is basically drawn or prepared when the consignor and the consignee comes into the place, or rather in the picture. Now you would be wondering what consignor and consignee means. So to make you understand, let me draw you a flow chart which will make you specifically understand what basically I'm talking about. So when it comes to consignment account, we'll understand who the consignor is, who the consignee is, what are the goods that are consigned, and how the terms and definitions rather match to the flowchart that we are drawing about, or rather we are going to draw about. So let's understand the flowchart first. Now, the proforma, or rather the flowchart that has been drawn here, will give you a brief explanation about what are we talking about when it comes to consignment accounts. So there are two parties basically into this transaction. One is a consignor, one is the consignee. Consignor is the one who sends goods to the consignee, and consignee is the one who receives it. Now, the job role of consignee is to sell those goods of that consignor on behalf of that consignor basically. So for example, if I am the consignor and you are the consignee, I'm sending certain goods to you, which will be called as goods consigned, and you on behalf of me are supposed to sell those goods. Now here, when you specifically sell those goods on behalf of me, you would take certain cut of it. Now that is the commission that you earn. So on basis of this commission, I make sure that my sales are upgraded because I cannot reach everywhere. Hence, in such a situation, I make sure my agents, like you being a consignee, you sold, or you rather sell out those goods which I am supposed to sell out in the first place. Hence, this is called as consignment account. Now, whenever this happens, there are certain points that you need to understand. First point that we'll discuss about is the ownership. Even if I'm sending goods to you, the ownership of the goods still remains with me. However, the possession of the goods remains with you. So I am still the owner of the good, and you are merely one person who will sell that goods on behalf of me. The second point that we'll discuss from the consignor's side is that he doesn't send an invoice to the person to whom he's sending the goods. He'll send a pro forma invoice. A pro forma invoice is basically a soft copy, or rather we can talk about a normal copy, a normal receipt of goods, which will not have complete details, but will have just the basic details that are required. It is not the actual invoice that we give to our end customers, but it's just a receipt of this much of goods being sent to this specific consignee. Now, when the goods are consigned to a consignee, the consignee also has certain responsibilities or certain cuts in it. Let's figure out what exactly they are. Usually, the consignee bears certain expenses, like it must be marketing expenses, it must be selling expenses, or anything that comes after the goods being sent to him, and the way he sells out the goods, every expense is bared by the consignee itself. To help with such expenses, the consignor may also send certain advance payment or security deposit to the consignee so that he can make up for the initial expense that he has to do for making those goods sold out, or rather making that sale happen. So that is one thing that you need to understand. There is certain advance or security deposit that a consignee may ask, or the consignor may directly send it to him. At the end of a certain period, the consignee sends an account sales to the consigner consisting of various details, as in how much goods have been sold out, what rate it has been sold out, how much commission it is, what is the balance that is left with him, what is the value of stock that is left with him, etc., etc., like details. Or we can talk about complete details of whatever is with him and whatever has been sold out and what rate it has been sold out, including the commission that he's supposed to receive from the consigner. All these details are sent to the consigner every periodic year, or rather we can say every periodic interval, whatever the description may be, or whatever as per the company terms and norms. So we have to understand that thing. Now when we speak about those account sales, there are certain details that are mentioned in it. Let's read it out. Account sales includes the details of the sales that are made by the consignee. The expenses that are bared by him on behalf of the consigner is also a part of that account sales. The commission that is earned by him by making that sale at whatever percentage they might have an agreement to, that is also a part of that account sales. Unsold inventory, which is again sent out to the specific consigner after that periodic interval being closed out, and that is also a part of the account sales. The advance payment of the security deposit amount which was sent by the consigner is also a part of this account sale, because this will give you a complete understanding or idea about where the company stands in terms of this consignment. And the last part refers to the balance due. That means whatever balance he is supposed to receive from the consigner, that is the amount that is mentioned here. So all these things are a part of account sales. So basically when we deal with accounting, or rather when we deal with consignment accounts, we basically have to deal with these two peoples, and the accounting process, accounting entries will be according to these two people itself. So this is just like a small transaction, or rather list of transactions between these two people, and we'll understand how the sale happens, how the journal entries happens in the near future videos. So this is what we had to talk about in this specific video, understanding the meaning and definition of it. So thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned with Ekeeda and keep subscribing to Ekeeda.